Good morning, friends. Hello. Sorry for the couple of minute delay today. Just trying to. Sometimes the little technical things get ahead of me. So my apologies for the tardiness this morning. I hope you're well. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing all right. Hope things are great. That Hey, good morning, Donna. Hi, John. Welcome. Hope you're well. Karen, good morning. Jamie Battles, everybody. Good morning. How are you? Linda, great to see you. So glad you're here. I hope you're having a great day. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Hope you're grand. Hello, hello. Glad to see everyone. Having a good day today, I hope, on this Wednesday. So, a little hard rock mug this morning. Vicky going to the beach. Beautiful. Oh, it's glorious. Glorious. All right. Does your name always come with a tone? Hmm. Do we really need to ask? All right, friends. It is the 14th day, the middle of September. It's the 14th day of September at this 11:11, and I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're a part of this journey. Welcome and thank you for being here on this hour and this morning and this moment. But also thank you for the wider journey of both the encouragement of your little digital faces over there and the wider joy that you share with each other and encourage one another in our walk. Because I think that's a big piece of what we are about these days is this reminding each other who we are and whose we are, and as we kind of walk out this life together, it is one of the core pieces of what it is to walk together in faith in this way. So welcome, so glad you're here. I have this this late summer, early fall, kind of wherever we find ourselves, place. I've been falling into this discipline, or I won't say it's really a discipline. It's just this joy, really, of going out in the morning with a cup of coffee. Sometimes before anybody else in the house gets up, and just and hanging out with the dog. That will when we might play a little frisbee, or he might just run around and kind of work on his bone or something on the backyard. But just to sit outside, it's been such a gorgeous fall. I mean, it's been it rained the past couple days, and just to remind us of how I think glorious it is, and to bring some green to the world. That so many mornings this summer I've just been able to sit out and have a cup of coffee and spend a little time with Poco, our dog, and to have that time together of being in relationship with my the little four-legged furry creature that I spend my that I've chosen to bring into the home and share our lives with. If you think about it, it's a weird thing, like coexisting with animals. It actually is this kind of oddness to it in a way, doesn't it? I mean, it's this animal, and we have all kinds of relationships with animals. We might have a bird feeder out, or we might have a steak on the grill, or we might have any number of things. But then I have this little creature that looks at me that we have this relationship with, and that we play, and that we have that we're engaged with, and that it's a part of our being. really that that become a part of being. And for those of you who journey with pets, and those of you who maybe have lost a pet, and the way in which that grief is just a reality and a wholeness of being. And so it reminds me of but playing with Poco reminds me of our place in this world. It reminds me in many ways of our status in this world. I mean, Poco is a golden retriever. He is not a wild animal. Were he left on his own devices, he would just try and find somebody else to take care of him. He is not going to go out and forage and make his way in the world. He's not, this wild creature. He is nothing but a big ball of love and affection with a hope, if I were to blink out of existence to hopefully to find another big ball of affection that would care for him. That's his one trick. It's what he's got. If you ever encountered Goldens, you understand this as a part of their existence. But it also, in the reality, puts me in the position of master, right? Dog and master. Like, we can say that he's certainly my friend. I mean, we certainly, like, insofar as that is a thing that happens between animals and people. But there's certainly, our love and connection there. And yet, somebody brings home the dog food. Somebody says, no. And he stops running and looks at me most of the time. I will, there's boundaries that I'm called to put on him all the time. There are ways in which I'm called to organize his life all the time, that he doesn't get to go out every time he wants to go out. His constant experience of being on the wrong side of any particular door, that doesn't, he doesn't get that I'm actually called to be the master. I'm actually called to be in charge of parts of his life. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have a glorious relationship. That doesn't mean, every morning when I have my coffee, he's gotten in the habit now. That's one of the things that made me think about this and want to talk about it today. He's gotten in the habit now of expecting to go out and sit and play on the lawn. And so now he comes, and there's a big head right here that stares at me while I'm having coffee before it's time to go out. And I'm constantly looking at these eyeballs. And then if I don't respond quick enough, there's a big sigh. It's like that's all I get. And I'm exasperating. Like, come on, we've got these things to do. Gotta go. Like, this whole experience, it reminds me of my role in this, right? Like, and I think it and if you've ever had this experience too, if you're a part of people with animals in your life, you understand this experience too, of being a part of and really it is this master kind of experience. Now you can say that's like, oh no, they're just my friend and we just go through life together, but that's not really true, because you bring home the kibble and bits, because without you, they would be lost. Without you, your heart would break. But you'd still be able to make a sandwich and get through your day. Now, and that's not to minimize the grief of the loss of a pet. That's not what I'm doing. But you get what I hope you get what I'm saying here, that you have some agency that they don't. Saint Basil the Great, which is he's this glorious ancient father of the church that wrote some of the most amazing things. He says it this way. He says, "You were created to have dominion. You are the master of the passions, the master of savage beasts, the master of serpents, the master of birds. Be master of the thoughts within you in order to become master of all beings." When Jesus is about to get stoned, when he is about to get killed by the authorities that are upon him, and then this is right at the brink. He's really about to be killed. Like, there is a crowd around him. They have stones in their hands. They are ready to start throwing. They're in this point. And this is from the 10th chapter of John. He says it this way. He says, again, his Jewish opponents picked up stones to stone him. But Jesus said to them, "I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these do you stone me?" And their response was this: "We're not stoning you because of any good works," they replied, "but for the blasphemy, because you, a mere man, claim to be God? Jesus answered them, "Is it not written in your law, I have said you are gods?" If he called them gods to whom the word of God came, and scripture cannot be set aside. Does it really say that in the Bible? Is that really a thing? Yeah, it does. In the 82nd Psalm, those are actually the words of David translated from Yahweh. These words from Yahweh that David records in the Psalms. And the 82nd Psalm, verse 6, look it up. I have said that you are gods. This is what God says to David and thus to all the people, that this sense of we are people who are called into mastery. We're called now. There's this is the thing. There's this sense of dominion, there's a sense of having control over, and then there's this sense of brutality or authority or authoritarianism or tyranny or control that we can see in cruelty. I started this conversation talking about Poco because I think it's this beautiful illustration of what Saint Basil is talking about and what Jesus is talking about, and it's what I want to call us today to remind us who we are and whose we are, what job we're into in this thing, what we are about. It's easy right now for us to kind of get called away by fear or by all the different words that are getting in our head, by all the different scary things out there in the world, by all the different things that would destroy us or break us or seek to do so. All of that is actually can be framed, even though these are things that might be the real kind of control things that are trying to get the best of us, and maybe things we don't even have control over at all, like for instance illness or sickness or disease, or things that we may not even have any agency in terms of our bodies. But all of that is, for when we fall into it, blinds us and seeks to mask the fact, or maybe it's the confrontation with great evil, which we think about, that people who are legitimately trying to get us in some level. It's not paranoia if they are out to get you. That this notion of all these things that seemingly arrayed against us, and what agency do we have? What possibility could we work it through? What way could we possibly contend with all the forces and all the things that are out there in the world? This is what this line from Jesus is talking about. Have I not told you you're gods? Do you not remember that you're just a place for you at the divine council? There's a place for you in the heavenly realms. There's a place for you that has the power of the gods themselves. You watch the new Marvel movie, and there's Zeus as the head of the. Well, Zeus is an awful character, by the way. If you ever read any Greek mythology, Zeus is horrible. He's a rapey swan. That's what Zeus is. And when Jesus is saying, when Jesus is quoting the Psalm saying, haven't I told you you are gods? I mean, you have more mastery, you have more agency, you have more power than all those gods that were out there, that all those principalities that were out there that are supposedly arrayed against you. That are all the proposed weakness of your body, or the proposed chaos of the world. None of those things matter compared to the mastery that is within you, because you are a child of the Master. What they were trying to stone Jesus for was his claim to be the Son of God. The claim to be the Son of God. God claims us as his children. We too are the sons and daughters of the Most high. Don't forget it. Because when we can kind of reclaim that place, it allows us to step into the fullness of our usefulness and the fullness of our compassion. Right? If I know I'm the master of Poco and I know it is my role and I know it is my job, I know it's my job to care for him and I know it's my job to order his world, just as I know it's my job to order my own world, just as I know it's my job to help order my family's world, just as I know it's my job to help order my church's world, just as I know it's my job to help order my society's world, just as I know that it's my job to help order all of creation insofar as I step into it, just as I know this and as I step into it because I have been given this agency and this power from the one who made us, because I know all of this and because I can keep that somewhere maybe in front of my face instead of like the dragons that would roar at me or the fear that would bubble up or the despair that would shroud me. If I can keep this thing just in front of my face just a little bit, I have this ability to contend with anything that shows up. Anything that shows up. The further expansion of what St. Basil wrote is this. This is a different translation, so I want you to hear it in a different way because I think it really will bring us home in this. Rule the thoughts in yourself, that you may be a ruler of all beings. Thus the rule you have been given over the animals trains us to rule the things belonging to ourselves. For it is misplaced to be governed at home or govern nations, to be ruled within by a prostitute and be a mayor of the city by public consent. It is necessary that household affairs be managed well and that good order within be arranged, thus to receive authority over others. Since the word of Scripture will be turned back to you by those who rule, if your household affairs are disorderly and disorganized, namely, physician, heal thyself. Let us heal ourselves first. That all begins. Now, it's not about what your sock drawer looks like. That is only a tiny piece of this whole thing. About, whether you have all your colors matched up, I don't, so don't worry about that. It is this notion of how we think, about ruling our thoughts, about looking at, about the way that God has given me Poco to care for in my midst. God has also given me my head and my brain and the thoughts that pop in there and the things to make that a place where I can rule over. To say the thoughts that come to me that are filled with avarice, filled with anger, filled with meanness, filled with despair. I don't need a place for them there. I can dispatch them and send them away. One of here's my curveball for the day. I think one of the greatest examples of this is actually the author and adventurer Laura Ingalls Wilder. If you remember the show Little House on the Prairie, with that growing up, maybe you're of an age where you remember that, but if you're not, Laura Ingalls Wilder, obviously they were before they were a TV show. They were a series of books. I encourage you to read them, even though they, you can think like, oh, these are passé or these are ridiculous or they're kitsch or they're Pollyanna or whatever, however you want to understand it. But Laura Ingalls Wilder actually has probably one of the greatest spiritual masters of dealing with the uncertainty of the world. We have to remember that she was headed west. If you know the stories, she was a young girl headed west with her family into Kansas Indian country when things were when the exploration of the West was just in its infancy, and all of the risks, all of the incumbent dangers, all of the way that westward expansion is just littered with the graves of those who attempted to do it. And yet she writes her chronicle of Little House on the Prairie that would come to pass as this way of articulating and understanding that this grand life in which she was a part of was an adventure. Now you can say, oh, she had the advantage of youth, she didn't know all the things that could go wrong, blah 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 blah. Make all the excuses for it you want, but at the end of the day, what she was articulating is incredible mastery over the thoughts that she permitted to come into her head. And that didn't mean she wasn't worried about her friends, or when she didn't or she didn't care about her sister when she was blind. She was disconnected. This isn't Buddhism. She wasn't apart from it, but she had a sense and a faith in the fact that she had mastery over what was in front of her, because she could understand it as an adventure, as I wonder what's going to come next. Why do I wonder what's going to? Because I know that the Creator that has made me can handle it, and can imbue me with the power in which to handle it as well. That there's not a danger or a thing out there that's going to destroy me. Now my body, maybe, but my body's going to be food for worms eventually for all of us. All of us shall be as the saints are one day. But that's not defeat, and that's not the point, and that's not the way of life and of living. The way of life is to remember that these crazy words that have I not said, you are gods, you are like the panoply of those out there who would claim worship and would claim power and agency. You too have power and agency. You too have a world in which to care for. And in the same way, when I walk out on my little patio and with my cup of coffee and sleepy eyes and my comfy pants, and I spend some of the time of the morning throwing a frisbee with my dog and making sure he gets a good scoop of kibble and a little bit of meat in it from the night before. And when I scratch his ears until he finally decides he's had enough, that when I make sure that he doesn't wander from the yard or wander in the road, when I exercise that mastery in the world, and I love him up, and that he in turn loves me back, that mastery there, as demonstrated in that mundane, boring, basic little engagement that many of us have had through the course of life and living, is a microcosm, is a fractal, is a hologram of the entire universe and the entire life in which we are called to live. If you're out of order, if you're feeling in chaos, if you are lost, if you are afraid, if you are in pain, if you are worried, remember that there is a place set for you at the high table. Remember that you are a child of God, made in the image of God, that you are of God's own table, with an agency to see that which comes next in you, not as another spear or another arrow or another despair or another cloud or another point of brokenness, but as another adventure, as another way to love the world, as another opportunity to hold and to love up, because you, friends, in the words of Basil, were created to have dominion. You're created to have master the passions, the master of savage beasts, to be the master of serpents, to be the master of birds. Be the master of the thoughts within you in order to become master of all things. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. Peace and grace to you. Should your path, I woke Ryan up this morning with the happy birthday, so I won't. He's not here anyway. So we'll. But it is Ryan's 16th birthday, my son Ryan. So should your paths cross today, please wish him a happy birthday. Peace and grace to you, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.